everyone. Welcome to Across the Bifrost, the Mighty Thor podcast, where on each and every episode we explore the world of Marvel's Mighty Thor. I am Ryan Doze. I am here to talk about a fantastic issue, but I can't do it without great friends and honestly, very worthy co-hosts. The return of Will Rose happens now. You are listening to the return of... Here's the thing, Will.
Boom. Yeah.
Other characters in the Thor universe returned in this issue, but this also marks your return. Because I think the last episode you were on was your birthday episode.
Yeah. It's like you get to the final page and you turn and there's my face going, "Hey everybody!" And you're like, "He's back."
You're just like, back. "Oh, it's the guy from the podcast that like a few people listen to." Fantastic!
It's the return.
And also joined by our resident Hercules expert, but also just like Thor, like mega note-taking stan. Eric Teskey is back. Eric, we talked about this a little bit on like our most worthy group chat. You're essentially a co-host at this point, and like you've got so much cred. But I'm so stoked that you are back to review this because it's so dense, man.
Did you call me a note-taking stan? Are you making me out to be some kind of nerd or something? What
Eric,
the heck?
I can see all the comics behind you, man. No,
and I'm the nerd who copies off his paper, so that's what I'm doing, off his notes.
No, man, it's honestly, I've said this before, but like I love that when you're looking through a comic, you're like, that's got to be a reference to something, and then you just go seek it out. I'm just like, oh yeah, cool. The Grey Gargoyle turned Paris to stone once. Moving on,
Whatever.
But I mean, well, Eric, it's so good to have you guys on this episode because this issue, I mean, Eric, first impressions, like without like digging into it just yet, but like this issue was kind of like bonkers because I hadn't read it yet, and got to like late Thursday, and people were already like, people don't often text me after a new issue. But this was one where they were like, "Have you read it yet? Have you read it yet? Have you read it yet?" And I'm like, "No, obviously I haven't. Otherwise we'd be talking about it." But how did you feel reading this? Like, did it like hype you up? Did it confuse you? What was kind of your first impression on your first read of this?
I was hyped up because obviously I know where we left off, and I see Grey Gargoyle on the cover, and I'm thinking, oh, they're gonna like pick up with the adventure that's in progress here, and then we see a totally different scene, and I'm just like, okay, so we cover quite a bit of territory here, a lot of different settings, information. This is an information dump, and in the wrong hands, it would have felt like homework. But I think it just felt so exciting because it's packed full of information, but it's so well crafted that it's a breeze, and you breeze through it, and you just think like, wow, is that like 2 or 3 issues of comics? No, that's all in one issue.
Right there, and we should probably keep a counter for this issue review of how many different runs of Thor are referenced in this one issue. Because off the dome, I can think of 4. Yeah. Or other creators' runs of Thor that Al Ewing references in this one freaking issue. Will, what was your first impressions of this issue? Kind of like upon your first read, what were the thoughts? What were the vibes?
Well, first, let me take a sip of my tropical lightning to get ready.
Oh,
here we go.
Right, we all have beverages. Will is drinking a tropical lightning, which was also his stage name in college.
It was.
Tuition's not going to pay for itself. And I have a beer from Theology Beer Camp that I'm drinking out of my homebrewed Christianity pint glass. Is the ballroom beer from Call to Arms. None of those things feel like they vibe with me, but it's nice. Eric, what are you drinking?
So I had some red wine, but red wine does not come into the comic book room. And so now I'm switching to Athletic Brewing Company Run Wild IPA. It's a non-alcoholic IPA. It's really good.
Hold on. I have to follow up on it.
I know.
Why does red wine not come into the comic room?
No, I just picture a bottle of red wine knocking on the door, and you're like, "You're not allowed in here.
You can't come in here.
Get out of here.
This isn't for you."
Yeah,
Fun.
not because of some horrible accident or anything, but just because I want to prevent a horrible accident. So I
Yeah.
just don't want to do
Okay.
that. So
Yeah.
Respect.
So
Respect.
so yeah, I just get into this comic. Like, I read Legacy number 777, Lucky 777, and I saw that Thor was turned into stone and smashed. And I thought that was it. Like, we're finishing with 777. I thought Thor's over. We're never gonna see Thor again. He's dead. Oh well, good run, Al.
Boy, don't
Man.
you look foolish.
Yeah, and then I was like, "What? Another comic? 778, issue 17. What? I can't believe this is happening." And the first page is just like him floating in the space void, just smashed to pieces. And I was like, "Oh, here we go. We got more story to tell, and there's a lot of stories in here. They pack everything in. Al is a genius in terms of pulling threads, and not only
Yeah.
from deep old Norse mythology, but also deep old Marvel runs of Thor runs. So yeah, it's everything you want in a comic. And yeah, I agree with Eric. Like, if this is your first issue ever of Thor or just comics in general, okay, you're like, the art's fantastic,
Good
the flow
luck.
is great, the action's good, but yeah, some things might go over your head and you have some homework to do, get some deep dives.
I couldn't agree with you more. Because I mean, like we said, this is dense, and thankfully we're gonna have a few little like tangents. Like this probably will be a little bit longer review because we just have more to talk about and more comes up in this issue. Last issue we got kind of an easy read, kind of smash 'em up fight with
Yeah,
Radioactive Man, with Cobra, with Hyde, but this one was kind of
great
like
dive.
the flip of that. So let's let's
And real
dig in.
fast, what I like about that are those are
Yeah.
like C list villains,
Oh,
right?
I love it. I love it.
And they're just campy C-list villains, but yet they beat Thor. So like,
Yeah.
oh man, like I love it that, and he takes them kind of lightly, in that last issue, like, "Oh, I got this, whatever. I'm just going to bring him away from society and away." He's got little complications of image and um
A little
cops and
complication. He was accused
yeah,
of
little,
double homicide.
yeah, exactly. Just slight complications in his
I'm
life.
on the lam, guys.
But these are C-list villains you'd think you'd have no problem with. But yet they best him, and now let's see what happens next.
One thing I love about this, and Eric and I talked about this kind of after we pressed pause on last recording, was all of these villains show up incredibly early in Thor's run. I believe within his first 25 first appearances, or
Right.
within his first 25 appearances, all of these villains show up. So I love that Al Ewing is kind of dredging up these early Silver Age villains. Like Cobra is ridiculous. Mr. Hyde is ridiculous. Grey Gargoyle is just like a French caricature that has stone powers. And Chen Lu, the radioactive communist, come on. Nothing
Yeah.
screams 60s comics more than that. So I love that.
Oh, comics.
I totally agree with you. Well, I love that Al Ewing is kind of doing this with the sea level villains. The Let's start talking about the cover first. We get another Alex Ross cover, features the Gray Gargoyle and Thor in a struggle against like a bluish purple backdrop. I do like this cover a lot, even though it is one of those classic Marvel things where like this does not really happen in the issue. If anything, it happened last issue,
Hmm.
but we're not really giving anything away about the issue with this cover. Did you guys only pick up the Alex Ross cover, or did you pick up other covers? I guess I don't really even know how big of a fan of variants we all are. To
I,
I'll get
I like
I'll,
a good I like a good variant, and I'll try to find it. I like the Alex Ross cover. The one that you got was not in my comic store a day late that I
Yeah.
hoped to get in there. I don't know if it's sold out or they just didn't get that one, but yeah, it was already in my box that they pulled for me, so that's what I took.
What about you, Eric?
I'll get some variants if it's a really, really cool depiction of a specific character or something like that. But I think usually when I see covers that the more generic they are, especially in this current run, the more I feel like something big's going to happen. Because if they just make a generic like scene of Thor like flying or like just like in Asgard or something, it's like, okay, something's going down and they don't want to give anything away.
Yeah. If anything, they want to throw us off the scent. The Will did reference the cover that I got. Listeners of this show know I'm a big fan of Marvel Team Up and Marvel 2-in-1 books from the 70s and early 80s that were kind of like Saturday morning cartoons with Spider-Man and Team Up and Ben Grimm's The Thing in Marvel 2-in-1. And there is a variant cover of the Immortal Thor with Ben Grimm and it has the header on it, Marvel 2-in-1, The Thing, and the Immortal Thor. And then our old buddy Tyrannos is in the background. So I love this cover. I know there's a few Marvel 2-in-1 variants going around. I absolutely love that Marvel does these things. It makes me feel like, hey, maybe I'll get my dream of a modern Marvel 2-in-1 book. I've been saying it for weeks now.
We
I
have a
feel like
Fantastic
Will
Four
Moss should have
movie.
heard me by now.
Yeah, we have a Fantastic Four movie coming out pretty soon. So,
I'm just saying.
there you go.
But let's dig into the issue, guys. We are reading, like we've said, Immortal Thor 17. Will, what's our legacy number?
778.
And the title of this issue is, I'm really glad they're leaving these titles till the end because this would have ruined it. But the title of this issue is The Son of Thor.
Oof.
Woo! Okay, here we go.
Oof.
Obviously, our writer is Al Ewing, artist Jan Basil Dua, colorist Matt Hollingsworth, letterer the lettering god Joe Sabino, and obviously an Alex Ross main cover. So we're going to take this in chunks because, like we said, there is so much. So let's start off with where we find Thor at the beginning of this issue. Thor's pieces are floating against a starry sky. Not literally, but like his pieces are still in the warehouse in New York City where all the villains are standing over him. But he's kind of floating through this dark void. And who would
His
show up?
His consciousness. Yeah, his spirit, his soul.
Who's gonna show up? But I guess eyeless Donald Blake. Donald Blake shows up, looking like he's had better days. And Thor and Donald Blake, they go back and forth about a few different things that I'm sure we can piece together. But then we get a reminder that Donald Blake is also kind of combined with the serpent symbiote still. That was a reference back to the Donny Cates run. There's a lot of different references just in this scene. And Thor is attacked by these creatures that are within the dark void, which, Eric, what was how would you pronounce the name of this place?
I'm going to just pronounce it way wrong and just go with it. Yeah, Vidblane. I don't know.
Though a long time ago, Torrin Grunbeck did give me permission to butcher like Norse mythology words. So I guess, hey, if it's good for Torrin Grunbeck, it's good enough for me.
You just got to lean into it. Just own it. Be like, we're here in the void land known as Vidblane.
You added a little Midwest twang on that, Eric. I love that. So Donald Blake basically says like, "Hey, you're not going to make it out of here." And then the Gray Gargoyles spell wears off. So, Will, why don't we start with you, man? Like, what this opening scene with Donald Blake with his his gooey eye sockets.
Yeah, it was jarring. It was super jarring. Like the first little page is just broken up. Thor in pieces floating through space. And I'm like, okay. And then you turn the page and you have this guy that has like no eyes and goo pouring out of it. And it's Donald Blake. And you're like, oh, that's right. But I love the pullback to the last time we've heard from him is Donny Cates' run and that whole kind of like schism between the two and made Donald Blake into like a villain and back and forth. And, all those things. I was trying to remember what had happened back in that run, but knowing that seeing Donald Blake is not a good thing. It's not like, oh, I'm glad he's here, or oh, yeah, I guess he's out of trouble now. Donald Blake's going to help him. No, it's like, oh, things are going to only get worse.
Yeah.
So it's not this is not a good thing. This conversation that's happening. So you are kind of wondering what's next, and is is he going to survive this? Of course, we know there's more comics to be done, but really, how they're going to get him out of this thing. So as they're going, and then they kind of at the end of this, you flash back to these villains overlooking the smashed up statue of Thor, and you think it's maybe Radioactive Man that's glowing and Thor is turning green, but there's a green there that's a different kind of green that may allude to another character who's in green. And I'm like, oh, who could this be that's helping out here? So yeah, there's a magic afoot. There's tantra scene afoot.
That was almost an English word. That was Eric, when we're in this void area, what are some of the things that jumped out to you before we transition back to Thor back in Midgard?
Yeah, well, so this is not just any old void. This is the exact same place where Thor woke up in 2007 in Thor #1 by J. Michael Straczynski. So this is Al Ewing basically canonizing this place as like the place that you go in non-existence. It's not quite the afterlife. It's not Valhalla, but it's a place where if you're off the board, essentially, you could end up here. And that time, Thor meets Donald Blake there as well. So it seems like Donald Blake is mentally there because they have this bond that his mind is able to be in this void with Thor at the same time. So that's why he, of all people, is appearing there. There's a little bit of backstory exposition about, Donald Blake losing his head, his body being turned into the Keep, which we know now the Keep has been brought back as Roxxon Thor. So
Chad
a lot
Hammer,
of this,
baby.
Chad Hammer, yeah. So a lot of this is really sort of fleshed out with previous Thor runs. It goes real deep. A part that I thought was really especially interesting was this prophecy where the Earth is consumed in fire. This vision that Donald Blake is talking about. I don't know if that was ever paid off. That exact same scene, by the way, is shown in the 2007 first issue of Thor. About if Thor's not in the right place at the right time, this is Earth's future. And I don't know if that was ever paid off. And I don't know if we are being reminded of that sort of prophecy now because it might be paid off. But I just thought that was so interesting. There are so many homages and references. There's even a panel that I call Nightshirt Thor, where it looks like it's taken directly out of the Straczynski run, illustrated by Olivier Coipel. And so lots of really just fun nuggets to pick through here.
Nightshirt Thor. I love that.
And I love that he's fighting without anything. He doesn't have his belt. He doesn't have his hammer. He's just kind of left there, pretty much laid bare, naked or just in his nightshirt hanging out, fighting these monsters. So you see him just kind of with nothing else other than just his shredded arms and abs.
So, which I'll be honest, like for a god of Asgard, probably the only thing he needs. Like the hammer feels a little overkill sometimes. One of my favorite parts of this opening little segment was the fact that Donald Blake doesn't have eyes. Like I loved the Prey storyline from Donny Cates, where Donald Blake goes full on cuckoo, like nutball crazy. Mm-hmm. And he actually finds a way, like Donald Blake finds a way to kill Jormungandr. He finds a way to kill the World Serpent. And then he goes on this killing spree. And he's like an Asgardian serial killer at a point in that story. And I love that at the end, Loki is the one that punishes him. And that picture, Eric shared it in the notes, like that picture that Nick Klein did of the serpent dripping venom into Donald Blake's eyes. It was visceral and uncomfortable back then, but now seeing Donald Blake in the aftermath of it, like he's got no eyes. Like it's
there's history there, right? With Odin and an eyeball being taken and an eye patch and like eyes. There's history there with what you can see and not see or perceive. Like
honestly, eye like eyes and like getting rid of your eye is to Thor comics as losing your hand is to Star Wars. Like
Yeah.
at some point you're gonna lose an eye.
At some point, you're gonna lose an eye. Yep, yep.
Let's move back to Midgard. When Grey Gargoyle's stone touch, it wears off, and all the pieces of Thor come back together. And then the gods of Midgard, Radioactive Man, Grey Gargoyle, Cobra, and Hyde, they're all like, oh shit. And Hyde is really the only one that's excited to fight him. I do find it interesting. They draw a distinction between Hyde and the rest of the group. Hyde's like, come on, guys, let's kick his ass. And they're like, but we tried to kill him, man. And Chen Lu loses his like radioactive power for a second after Thor does this really cool like superhero pose thing. And Jan Basil did a fantastic job at this.
Yeah, I agree.
When Thor shows back up in his full garb, then he basically lightning strikes himself to then dissipate all the villains, and it drains Radioactive Man of his power for a second. That's when Hyde jumps in and fights, and Gargoyle and Cobra kind of wuss out for a second. But I love that lightning strike because that's so Thor. Like that's so iconically Thor style. And one of my favorite parts of this entire issue, dense with meaning, dense with lore. This was one of my favorite parts where Hyde says, let go of the hammer and fight me like a man. And Thor lets go of the hammer, bashes him right in the chin. And then he basically says, like, is that all you've got? And he's like, no. And he calls the hammer back and it hits him in the head on the way back. I thought that was awesome.
So good. I was saying that was my favorite spot too. Favorite scene too. And it's just a great action sequence of forward, backward, in the front of the face, in the back of the head, and then just Thor standing looking over him, looking down at him like, yeah, I'm a badass, flexing.
Thor quickly dispatches of the rest of them, and Ager gets the Gods of Midgard out of there. Eric, anything about this fight before we get to the nitty gritty of the rest of the issue?
Yeah, I love the when Thor strikes Radioactive Man with lightning, he's sort of sitting there saying like it takes more than that. It's like Thor's like, but not much more. Like basically, I know I wasn't trying to kill you. I was trying to stop like if I wanted to. So sufficiently the pose. He's a badass, and he's back on the upper hand in this fight. Grey Gargoyle is sort of freaking out, and he's getting real nervous about what's going to happen, and he's definitely losing his cool. He's not the guy that's like signing on to murder Thor right here, and they're kind of giving him a hard time about that, but. I did want to just say one of the most obscure things I looked up. I was like, why in the world does Grey Gargoyle say, do you know what Captain America will do to us? I was like, what a weird reference is that?
Yeah.
From the best I can tell, I tried to find any time that Captain America and Grey Gargoyle were in the same room together, basically, at any other time. And there was 2 comics in the 70s where Cap and Grey Gargoyle are fighting, and Grey Gargoyle ends up one way or another in a spaceship that gets shot off the planet. He turns an escape hatch into stone and can't get out of it and ends up in space. And he actually ends up in space on 2 separate occasions. And I don't know, is that what he's referring to? Do you know what he's going to do to us? Shoot us into space on a rocket? Because he doesn't actually like get his ass kicked by Cap. He just gets launched on a rocket.
You know what? That's as good of a guess as I could have possibly come up with. Being shot into space not once but twice, yeah, that would make me think like, guys, I'm just telling you, if Cap gets involved here, we're all going on a ride to the moon. Like that's just what's going to happen.
But that's a perfect example of like one of those breadcrumbs, right? That I'm talking about. Yeah. That's the juicy stuff for me. When I see that, I'm like, I've got to figure this out, because why in the world would Al include that specific line? It's everything means something. It's not just like why are you invoking Captain America here? So there must be a story to it.
Yeah.
Well,
And what?
Thor and Cap are teammates, so it's kind of like, oh, we have our team. So like, if we mess up with him, we're the Avengers. But specifically naming Cap, and then Paris as well. Like, I don't know if there's some American French tension going on in this
So
thing or not.
the Paris thing is very interesting because it's probably the thing that Grey Gargoyle is the most famous for.
Yeah,
Like in Marvel Comics, he turned in the fraction run of Iron Man, he turns all of Paris into stone. Before I even got into reading Thor comics, if you asked me like, "Hey, what's the Great Gargoyle known for?" I'd be like, "I think he turned Paris to stone once." Like that was just like a
right.
random little fact I knew. But that's the thing that I think it's probably his most diabolical thing. I mean, turning an entire metropolitan area to stone and then basically disintegrating a lot of it. Yeah, it's just funny that Gargoyle does something as dastardly as that, but then he's like, "Oh no, I was trying to beat Thor and I actually beat him. Oh shit, what do I do now?" It's like,
Like, oh,
what were
nuts.
you trying to do?
Yeah.
Like, dude. Yeah, anything else about this fight? Because then we're gonna move into exposition insanity.
Yeah, well, they kind of linger that they're not the villains aren't defeated in a way that they're like dead or gone. Like they're definitely alluded to they may be used again, but I'm glad that we're not lingering there too long. There's like a quick fight resolution, and it's on to the next thing. It's like Ewing's moving on to the next bit,
Yeah.
which is pretty important.
So we see that the gods of Midgard, they're transported away by Dario Agger, but then Amora shows up, and she is the one that was aiding Thor. She's the one that we're meant to think put him back together, and
Yeah.
basically it's so that she can say, "Hey, by the way, I told you that I would find a way for you to I would find a way to convince you to bring my son back, and I feel like you owe me one, basically." We get a little cut scene with the gods of Midgard and Dario Agger, and we kind of get this like setup of like, "Hey, we're coming back here. Like we're not done with these guys." There is a reference on this page where Dario says, I'm just going to read this verbatim. Um, Cobra says it was the Enchantress's doing, at least according to the audio surveillance I left behind. Dario Agger says, "Excellent, Mr. Voorhees. We'll use that when we leak that the Enchantress is the new Roxxon CEO.
Mm.
That way, she can take the blame for whatever Iron Man makes public during this war with the company. See how it all comes together. As for Thor, you'll get your rematch, Mr. Hyde, and we needn't go to him for it." So there's a reference in here that yes, Amora is the CEO of Roxxon under a guise, but also Roxxon is involved with a war with Tony Stark right now in the new book that just launched over there. I went and read the first issue of that, and the Enchantress really isn't alluded to, isn't, mentioned by name, but Tony is kind of in the thick of it with Roxxon taking over his company. Justin Hammer's daughter, Justine Hammer, is a big part of that. They've stolen Tony's magic armor. So he has something called the Mysterium armor currently, and taking that piece off the board feels like if they wanted to over in the Iron Man book, I have no idea what's going to happen over there during this Stark Roxxon war. But taking magic armor off of the playing field for Tony feels like a good way for Amora to maybe be involved over there as well, getting what she wants out of Tony if need be. I just thought I would mention that as a quick aside because it is going on in another book. These events are somewhat connected with another thing that's ongoing. But
It is. I'll just say that when
yeah,
you say magic armor, it's hard for me not to roll my eyes a little bit.
you're reading a comic book, Will.
I know, but just like the whole iron, like I don't know what's going on over there, but I don't know him being a man of science, all this stuff, and the magic armor. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just like, well, I'll catch that up later on. We'll see when they cross over when they have some big event. Roxxon presents part two. I'll see what happens. What happens with it. Maybe they'll get Greg Land on it.
Hey, well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna defend Greg Land against the hordes of Will Rose haters out there. He did have my like I said that I got this Marvel 2-in-1 cover because I really liked it, and the Alex Ross cover was awesome. The Greg Land variant cover for this issue was very good.
Okay. All
You should
right.
go
All
check
right.
it out. It was very
I'll
good.
trust you. I'll
You'll
trust
probably still illogically hate it, but
you. Yeah.
um we move into the well, I guess Eric, did you have anything on the little interlude before we get back to Uller's Hall?
My favorite line from Mr. Hyde is basically like, "Do you think I'm taking these evil potions every day just for fun? Like, of course I'm trying to kill Thor. Like,
I'm hopped up on evil steroids, man.
yeah,
Right. I'm all hopped up on Mountain Dew, y'all.
I'm all hopped up on my Chip. I'm gonna scissor kick you in the mouth. Great. Now I have to watch Talladega Nights this weekend.
Yep.
Oh no, whatever will I do? So we move back to Asgard. We're in Uller's Hall. Uller is one of Thor's older brothers that we found out about in this run quite a few issues ago now, maybe 3 or 4 issues when we were doing the Eric, what were the boxes? The Skinner
Yeah.
boxes.
hmm
So when we were doing that whole shenanigan. So we're back here. Amora has convinced Thor to do the spell that will presumably bring her son Eric back, who died in the Strange Academy finale a while back. There's a lot of discussion of what
Eric,
this.
hold on.
Yeah.
Eric, is that how you spell your name? IRIC.
no, but it's a pretty cool spelling. I mean, I
Okay,
think
just checking.
unless you want to have teachers for your whole life call you Iric, I think then
That's right. Exactly.
Your parents
call.
made a
Good call.
much wiser choice.
Good call.
So we have 3 components here in this spell that Amora is going to try and do to bring Eric back. It is Uller's fire. It's this magic fire that presumably Loki was able to maneuver and make, but Uller is kind of making a makeshift version of the fire for the time being. It will also require the power of the Allfather, which is the thing that Thor is going to contribute to this concoction. But then it also involves Amora saying an enchantment, saying a spell, and that's where things get a little dicey because Thor even acknowledges this, and I just want to read this part, and then guys, you can kind of go where you want to with your thoughts on this part. Thor says, Eric deserves Valhalla, but he also deserves to see his mother again in the living lands. What comes after that we will decide. Amora says, well spoken, Thor. This fire will be the focus of my spell, thy power the fuel, and have no fear, you will not be granting me any measure of your cosmic might. Which is interesting because it's going to take a lot to bring Eric, supposedly, back from Valhalla. Instead, you will simply channel it through me into Uller's flame, and through this my son will be restored. Thor clarifies, says, Eric, I would have you speak his name, Amora. For it occurs to me that you have more than one son in need of restoring. He references a future potential son that Amora had with Namor, named Ovi? I don't know how to pronounce that. But Amora kind of like, she promises Thor without explicitly saying what she's going to do. And in that in-between space is where we have the problem. So, Eric, Will, before we get to the actual spell being cast, any thoughts on kind of the cat and mouse game that Amora is playing here?
it's a lot of fun. I mean, she's very tricksy, and she says, "Oh, I promise it has nothing to do with Ove. Ove is a red herring here," and so it also a great callback to the Captain Marvel run from a few years ago now, which I always see those things, and when they go to a different dimension and there's a different alternate reality, and I'm like, oh, I mean, do these characters really mean anything? Because it's out of continuity, and I guess it's a fun romp. but now they're referencing it in main continuity to be like, oh, I know that there's this possible future, and so they have the power to sort of see all those different things that might or could happen.
Yeah.
And they're naming them, by name. So a fantastic misdirection and very clever wording where Amora can swear that she is not going to be bringing Ove back, and that's honest.
And
I
Eric,
like that Sif is given side eye the whole time. Like, I warned
Sif
you,
is the queen of side eye.
but that whole like the way the art there, like not only just the words and the drama and what's going to happen and the foreshadowing or the tricking each other, but
Trixie
just
Falls.
Sif in the background holding that sword. It's so subtle and so good. I just love comics the way that they can illustrate those kinds of moments.
Eric, quick follow up. I agree with you, Will. I love that little Easter egg of Sif being like, for lack of a better word, like, bitch, I am watching you. Like that is what she's getting across. I love that. I'm a big Sif fan. Like, Sif is in my opinion, like a top 5 Thor character, and I wish we got to see her do more stuff in this run besides just constantly give him more of the side eye. But I also love that Carol Danvers is referenced here. And Eric, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're a Carol, you're a Captain Marvel reader.
Yep.
So this run that they're referencing, is that the Kelly Thompson run, or is that okay? So how does that story? Maybe like just quickly, like how does that story involve Amora? Like that she gets involved with Namor.
Well, I mean, so what happens
if you
is
can recall,
Carol she's literally like flying around and falls into this other dimension. And it's just, she's dropped into the middle of this dystopian future where there's this, war going on. There's a group of refugees who are going up against Namor and Ove, and the Enchantress is sort of like, I mean, she's not like evil queen. She's regular Amora kind of, for more or less. But Ove is a dick, and Namor is always a dick.
Yeah.
And they're, Carol takes the side of these refugee rebellions, and they try to overthrow the regime basically, and to fight back. Along the way, really nice little Easter egg. Carol meets Bridget, Thor's daughter. And that is a future. I mean, if Ove is a legitimate character now that they know about, they might know about her as well. She was the daughter of Thor in that reality. Thor was dead, and she becomes Thor by summoning Mjolnir. So, I mean, that all happened in this other side reality that we think, oh, the story's moving on after that arc's over and we'll never hear about it again. And that's kind of opening the door to that.
That you saying that makes me think like Al Ewing's notebooks must just be full of insanity.
And what in terms of his conversations with the editors, he's like, all right, I got an idea. I see like that meme of all the yarn pulled back and forth, and he's standing over like, I got an idea. And his editors are like, what? I love that.
I would love if that scene plays out where Al Ewing is just constantly pestering Will Moss, like in the middle of the night. Like Will Moss gets a call and he's like, "What, Al? What is it? Oh my gosh, I got it! Jurgens' run. It'll be Magni." And it was like, "Can't this wait for Monday? God!" And it's like, no. But also, it could potentially be Amora's son with Namor from obviously from the Captain Marvel run that you've clearly read, right, Will? I'm hanging up the phone now.
I'll see you Monday morning at 9. Yeah.
9, like on the dot. You call me a minute before. But yeah, it's Al seems like he's having a lot of fun going at these very minute little details and tying them back in. And I think this is probably what Hulk fans felt like during Immortal Hulk, where it's like, oh, wow, I didn't know we were going back this far. Like, does anyone else even remember that? I feel like Al Ewing is like the phrase about the elephant, like an elephant never forgets. Al Ewing never forgets. He never forgets. Okay, let's move on to the spell. So Amora casts this spell, and I would like to read it because it's such a well written kind of piece of
And
monologue.
well lettered. Well
Yeah,
lettered, Joe.
and
Well lettered.
expertly lettered by one Joe Sabino.
Yeah.
Um, I expect nothing less. Um, Now let my blood seek its own, and at the All-Father's will, through the all-power he summons, let my son be found. Again, she's not specifying. I even past the veil of death, past nothingness itself, past all doorways, across all voids, past fate itself, to reweave the threads long broken.
Mm.
Let my child return to me. She didn't say Eric once, not even once. And then the lightning blast like happens in the fire, and she says, my son is alive." Now there's a few more pages here, and we'll just breeze by these real quick so that we can talk about this last little section here. Everybody kind of like we get to see through other people's eyes. We don't get to see what's in the smoke and the where the fire was right away, but we get to see other people reacting to it. And like Sif and Oler are like, "Yeah, there's someone in that fire. He's alive, but I don't think that's the guy we were looking for." And even Thor is like, or Sif says, It's someone I've never seen before." And Thor's like, "What?" The guy in the person in the fire off panel is like, "Mother?" So we know it is one of Amora's children, but we're like, who is this? We tease it for a few pages. Amora again plays cat and mouse. She plays coy with this. And then Thor just says, the figure says, "You all speak in such riddles. Where am I? Is this new Asgard? All Father Thor, is that truly you? 'Tis I. Hello, Magni. Hello, my son." And then we get the credits. So, Will, what are your thoughts? And then Eric, I would love to hear kind of where you're landing on the big reveal at the end.
Well, for me, I'm not as stooped in all this, so I didn't know. I did not read Eric's notes before I read this episode, so I was very glad to go to the notes after the fact. So I just kind of assumed it was important, and I loved the trickster element of the enchantress doing something surprising, like the head fake, is so good, and he was so duped
Right.
with this. But when he's kind of confesses, "Hello, my son," at the end, I was like, okay, is this a new character? Is this someone we haven't seen before? Is this a first appearance? Is this issue going to be worth $1,000 10 years from now because it's a brand new Marvel character? So some of that stuff, I was kind of intrigued by the final page reveal. So. And they have mirrored belts, right? Is that what's going on there? Like they
Oh, let's look.
I mean, is that the same kind of belt that he has in the same?
Similar design, not exactly.
Okay. So anyway, I was digging into that. I was like, who is this person? What's going on? That element of surprise didn't hit me that hard, like, oh, it's this guy. But the fact that he's just saying that's my son, who looks similar to him, and a new character on the scene in Marvel excites me because I'm like, okay, cool. Where is this going to go from here? New character. I hope this has some legs and goes the distance here for a while. I hope it's not just one issue and then he gets poofed away. But
Yeah.
yeah, maybe this is something that they could be here to stay, like another character that is a part of the big Marvel universe for a while. I don't know.
Agreed. Agreed. I think it'll be interesting to see if this is a long standing addition to the supporting cast. But Eric, what do you think about the end of the issue, with it being this big, like if you're familiar with previous runs, you're like, oh my gosh, we're doing this?
Yeah,
Okay,
Eric, was this
Father.
was this somebody that you knew about before you researched? Were you like, oh shit, or was it kind of like, oh, I got to dig in and see what's going on here?
Yeah, I knew the name Magni as Thor's son, and actually the character is brought up in I think the early 70s or something, but they just never really kind of take it seriously or go back to it. it's not really, I don't know if it's not considered canonically Thor's actual son. It might just be like a character name that they use at the time. But then this is in Jurgen's run.
Yeah.
Definitely Thor and the Enchantress have a baby, Magni Thor's son, and he's not just around for like a quick appearance as a child or something like that. He's in like 6 to 8 issues in a row. It's like he's there for a while. And it's this, other alternate future where Thor is like sort of a jerk and he's the king and he's not a great guy. He's sort of the antagonist in that story. And Magni is actually a pretty upstanding guy and tries to do right by people, but ultimately falls in battle and ends up dying. So it's a really interesting way to bring this in. I noticed that when he's revealed, Thor is not that upset about this. It doesn't look like.
Yeah. He's not like furious that Namora tricked him.
Yeah, he says hello to him and he's kind of even smiling in the bottom right corner of the second to last page. So I don't know. I think it's really interesting. I was thinking about this. A lot of characters that have been around for a while end up having kids in Marvel continuity. Right. I mean, the Fantastic Four had kids years and years ago. So, I mean, it can definitely happen. It's definitely a bold move to bring somebody's kid into the story here, to then you have that then relationship you always have to deal with or explain, like, well, then where are they while you're doing this, like from then on. So unless they do something with the character, that would be a lot to sort of juggle in any Thor story moving forward of where's his kid. But I don't know, really, really interesting. And it makes this Jurgens run, which is sort of a quick, pass over this weird middle section where it's like this alternate reality and suddenly makes it feel important. And that's then the origin. And they even reference it. They say, oh, want to know more about Magni? Go read this issue on Marvel Unlimited. And they specifically point to this really dumb Mount Rushmore cover that is the first appearance of Magni as a child. So,
oh, hold on. I got to look. Oh my gosh.
So
I think I guess it's that though.
It's kind of like Planet of the Apes. They wanted to do something to establish that this is not like the regular Earth 616. There's different things.
Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to read that tonight.
You guys remember the end of Spaceballs, where the apes show up at the end of Spaceballs, and they're like, "Oh my God, we've got Spaceballs! Holy shit!"
All right, I have a question on the final page. South Dakota
are just like, oh, we've got Asgardians. Holy shit.
Question on the final page.
Yeah.
That whole costume is pretty sick, except for like the thigh rings. What purpose are these metal rings just around the middle of the leg there? You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
What?
So, I love that there's a very specific. I have a very specific, serious answer. So in the future, in this alternate reality, thigh chafing is a huge issue.
Okay,
and so they've come up with this. They've come up.
So
with
they're
this
corduroy
plan.
blockers. Corduroy blockers.
Yeah.
Corduroy blockers.
So he wants to sneak up on you. You'll hear him shooshing if he doesn't have these things.
Ching, ching, as you walk, like ching, ching. They're just like, I don't know, man. It's like they're definitely not going to sneak up on anybody with those things ting-tinging against each other on the way up to back.
I mean,
like, the whole thing is great until that. I'm like, what is going on with those thigh rings?
Oh my gosh, that's fun. Or potentially a much worse version of that is maybe those are just the tops of his very, very high thigh boots, and those are just the cuffs at the top.
Maybe. Yeah. Oh, that could be it. That could be
so many options. We should when we finally get to interview Jan, we should ask like, so we realize you are a very, very sought after artist. You've done many comics, like we just have to know though.
How did you approach the thigh rings? Yeah,
thigh rings.
What notes did you get from the editor?
Are they metal or cloth? Do they make noise? Like what is going on there?
What is the aesthetic purpose of those thigh rings? We have
or the Jeep grill that's holding his cape on.
That's right. The Jeep, the Thor truck. It's from Roxxon Thor truck.
Oh my gosh. Good grief.
No, I like this because it's almost like a Superman Captain America, red and blue, but he's got some good bracelets on, but those thigh rings, I'm like, what's going on there? I gotta know. But so
It looks like he raided his dad's closet.
yeah,
And he's definitely got his dad's physique. We'll put it that way.
yeah.
He's not even barrel chested. He's barrel armed. He's barrel necked. He's barrel forearmed.
Purple hair?
Everything is just like a cylinder.
Is that purple hair from like blonde and green make purple? Is that what we're going for?
Sure.
Like, you know,
I think it's supposed to be red.
okay.
I
Okay.
keep closing the book, and Will keeps asking questions that make me want to reopen the book. Um, Guys, any final thoughts on Immortal Thor 17, legacy number 778? Because
Mm,
when Will's here, we play by Will's rules,
that's right.
or
That's
Will's
right.
will. Uh, Eric, any final thoughts on 17?
I wonder if there is going to be an ongoing theme of like family or legacy or something like that. It reminds me of, Nyx's firstborn, Hypnos, is now
Oh,
living in
yeah.
Asgard, and they kind of have the same physique as Magni. They could all just get together and just be, oh, we're the children of these other gods, and I don't know. It definitely feels like a big swing to bring in a whole new character like this from a totally separate continuity.
Right.
And I want to see. Hopefully, it feels important later, and it's not just a one issue of like, oh, remember that time that guy showed up. It's like hopefully something
Yeah,
happens with it.
I agree. Because the cover, I mean, what you alluded to, like, hey, you want to learn more about Magni, go to 1998, number 68. But the Immortal Thor cover, the Alex Raw cover, it still has, the C-list villains hanging out and hide, in the mind of Thor. So I was like, I guess they're going to show back up the next one or alluding to that they're not done yet. Thor versus his oldest foes, but. Yeah, I hope he doesn't go anywhere. I hope it's not just something. It seems like a big deal, and but it could be one of those things where it's the reveal, go on to another story plot line, and 10 issues from now he shows back up. I wouldn't put it past Alien.
Yeah.
He can craft a multi-purposed or plot threads going through, and I just everything in this comic. It's comics, man. Al can put together a comic. Dang,
I,
guy
I
can put a
think
comic.
also there's maybe a potential that, the gods of Midgard are, they stir up some shit again, and Thor's got to go like, I'm sorry, everybody, I have to go crack some skulls down in New York City again. Hey, son, want to come with me? Gee, Dad, that'd be awesome. I'd love to.
Go to work with Dad Day. Come on, buddy, let's
Yeah.
go.
It's take your kid to Midgard Day, and you're just like, let's go crack some skulls. Gee, that'd be
Yes.
awesome. I think that would be all. That would be a fantastic use of Magni, maybe, because he's full grown. I mean, he's like freaking college football player big. He looks like he could fight a radioactive communist. Feels like that's something he could handle. I do love just foreshadowing a little bit to the next issue. I'll read the synopsis before we jump out of here, but I love the cover for the next issue. The
Yeah.
seeing the reflection of the villains in Thor's helmet. I love when Alex Ross does stuff like that. It's so quintessentially a Ross thing, that I love that we finally got a cover of him doing that thing. That's just a small little Alex Ross note. Um, but here's the synopsis of next issue, and then we'll get out of here. Thor versus his oldest foes. On Asgard, Thor had been outplayed by the Enchantress, and their game would have vast consequences across the Golden Realm. And on Earth, the self-styled Gods of Midgard made their bid to take the kingdoms of humankind for their own. This is the story of the immortal Thor and the heir to the throne of all. Well, we know who that is, we think. Al Ewing could always throw a curveball our way. Guys, anything else we need to let listeners know about before we do some plugs here and then get aboard the Bifrost and hop out of here? Eric, you got anything?
This was a fantastic book. It actually makes other previous runs of Thor even better in hindsight, which is a tall order. So it's just, I feel like we're in the presence of greatness here with stuff like this.
Whew, couldn't agree more.
Yeah,
William?
and I just pulled up Thor. number 68 or legacy number 572 with the Mount Rushmore of all those things. So guess what I'm reading tonight before I go to bed? Legacy number 572. That's what I'm reading. Yeah.
What a bachelor life you're living this weekend, Will.
I know. It's
I'm
a
gonna go to bed
dream.
early
It's a
and read
dream.
some comic books.
I'm gonna read myself to
You
sleep.
party
Comics,
animal,
man.
you. Everybody, thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you want to interact with us, there's a few links in the episode description you can check out. You can go check us out on Instagram, follow us there, interact with us, comment on some statuses, and share your thoughts there. If you want to join a community on Discord that talks about comics, we have a little bit of wrestling chat in there, some sports stuff. We have a leftover section, so if you can't think of a topic where your topic you want to talk about would fit, leftovers is pretty good. And we recently added a DC Comics only channel because our guy Greg over at Bearded Comic Bros was like, hey, why don't we talk about DC Comics? I'm like, because this is a Thor podcast, but fine, we will add a channel for you, Greg, because we love you and you're a valued member of this community. We have a lot of things over there that we talk about. So if you want to click that invitation in the episode description, we would love to have you over on Discord. If you want to support the show at the next level, throw us a few bucks to get some bonus episodes, some early episodes when we have them, and support the show. That'd be great. There's a link in the episode description. You can join the Thor Corps there.
And if money is not an issue and you want to just throw $10,000 our way so we can go to a Comic-Con and do a panel, we'd be happy to do that. If money's no issue,
we're all going to Indiana. We're all gonna hang out with Eric and Chris. We're gonna have a comic book party. We're gonna do that. You know what? We're gonna do that meme where it's the guys sitting on the living room floor eating the pizzas, watching movies. We're just gonna watch Thor movies while we eat pizzas on the.
We're gonna take Faz to a Colts
somebody out
game.
there that has some money that can
take Faz to a Colts game. I would like to go to a Pacers game as long as we're asking for stuff. But everybody, thank you so much for checking out this review. We had so much fun chatting about this comic, and we hope you had fun listening. So remember, until next time, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whatever dead family member you're bringing back from the afterlife, just remember to stay worthy.
If it be worthy, it shall possess the power of Thor.
I knew that would get you.
Whatever dead family member is in pieces and rocks and shambles at your feet, and you want to put them back together again.